One of President Biden's first executive orders was to allow transgender athletes to participate in girls' sports. Quoting his order, children should be able to learn without worrying about whether they will be denied access to the restroom, the locker room, or school sports. So let's talk about the real-world impact of this action with a track athlete from Danbury, Connecticut, Alana Smith, and Alliance Defending Freedom Legal Counsel, Christiana Holcomb. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
I'm going to start by playing something that your mom, Alana, said about you going into competition under these circumstances. Here's what she said.
Alana and I were talking about what her strategy was going to be for the day, and she looked at me and said, "Mom, it really doesn't matter because I'm running against the boys today. I won't win."
So, Alana, what kind of position does this put you in as a biologically born female athlete?
It's really disappointing because I know that me and all the other biological females work really hard at track practice, and we work hours a day just to shave off tenths of a second for our times, and it's just really disappointing to know who's going to win the race before it even starts.
Yeah, and Christiana, I know that there are a number of lawsuits going on. The ACLU says this, their deputy director for transgender justice, states that attempt to bar trans girls from sports, regardless of age or of transition, medical intervention, or anything else, with the new federal administration will now be risking lawsuits by the federal government, Justice Department intervention, and the loss of federal funding. So where does the legal fight go here, Christiana?
Well, this order is an irresponsible abuse of power. It is unlawful, and it effectively eviscerates women's sports for young women like Alana. Look, we already know what the impact of these policies are. We've seen it play out in Connecticut, where 2 biological males have swiped 15 women's state championship titles over the course of just a few seasons. So this will have a devastating impact on women's sports if it's allowed to proceed.
I want to read something from one of the transgender athletes who has been at the center of a lot of these conversations and cases, saying, "Running has been so important for my identity, my growth as a person, and my ability to survive in a world that discriminates against me." It's Andrea Yearwood. "I'm thankful that I live in Connecticut, where I can be treated as a girl in all aspects of life and not face discrimination at school." So, Alana, what is your message to these athletes who say this is an important part of their life and their identity?
I just want them to realize how unfair this situation was. Like, for example, at regionals, on freshman year, I should have gotten a silver medal. Instead, I received a bronze. And it's not really about the medal or the placement, but it's about knowing that all my hard work paid off. Because like I said, we spend hours a week training just to shave off the tiniest amount of seconds for our times. And it's just really disappointing to know that our hard work isn't really paying off how it should be.
And I know there are scholarships that are in play a lot of times. It's competitive. You're talking about a college education or the ability to get help with that. I want to play something from Kara Dansky from the Women's Human Rights Campaign. She is pretty far left, a feminist who would describe herself as very far left. This is what she said earlier tonight when talking with Tucker Carlson.
What this will have the impact of doing is obliterating women and girls' sex-based rights at a federal level. This is rank misogyny, and it is coming from the left. 2, there is a tremendous amount of money.
So, Christiana, this has been one of those things that we talk about. It's so interesting to see groups coming together from far left, far right, across the spectrum, coming together to stand up and say, as women's rights advocates, so they may disagree on all kinds of other things like abortion and, workplace issues. They agree here that they think that this is fundamentally unfair to women. But this is an administration. We have our first female vice president. President Biden has talked quite a bit about women's rights and wanting to respect them.
And yet, as we saw with this executive order, the Biden administration has sent a very clear message to young women like Alana. You don't matter. Your athletic opportunities, your scholarship opportunities do not matter. And if a biological male identifies as female, he's welcome to sideline you in your own sport. So this is not something the American people want. As you mentioned, people on the right and the left agree. It's simply not fair to displace young women in their own sports.
Alana, what do you want to say to folks out there who are listening to this debate, this conversation, following these court cases, about what this means for you and your future?
It means everything to me, considering that I want to run in college, and I even want to go pro, and to know that some girls won't be able to make it to states or regionals because only the top 6 or 8 can go, and the transgender athletes are taking up spots. It's really disappointing because, I mean, I was lucky enough to go to regionals and states, but I know that there's other biological females that weren't able to. So I just hope that they realize that our sport should be fair.
Alana and Christiana, we will follow these legal debates and these cases and your particular case as well. Thank you for your time.